Hey guys, thank you for joining us again for an exciting episode of YOMO. This is the Year of Magical Learning podcast. So today we are concluding part four, this last installment of the book,
Every,
in Everyone Culture, right?
yep.
And so we've been talking about this book and the reflection from this book for the span of last week to this week. So I think it's fitting to conclude this with a strong finish.
Yeah, awesome. I'm looking forward to it. It's a great book. I highly recommend it if you enjoy culture, if you enjoy, the business world and
Enjoying yourself.
yeah, enjoy yourself. Yeah, exactly. So the part four it's called A Better Me plus a Better You equals a Better Us. And so this just a quick recap, this book's about deliberately developmental organizations and the cultures that they build. And that's it. It's an everyone culture, right? So they're how to become a deliberately developmental organization, how to do what these companies are doing and why they do what they're doing, right? Because at the end of the day, I guess I'll explain. So like deliberately developmental organizations, you can't become, in my opinion, a deliberately developmental organization unless you first aren't willing to be a deliberately developmental person yourself, individual, right? So this wasn't a term in the book, but I'm coining a new term here. Instead of DDO, we're going to call them DDIs, right? So deliberately developmental individuals. This is the most important factor of all this stuff is like, it doesn't matter if you walked into a company like Bridgewater or NextJump or the other company they talk about in this book. If you're not willing to put in the work yourself, like in particular for our sake, like we've had people that have said they wanted to do what we're trying to do and we gave them a shot and they weren't deliberately developmental individuals. And I don't mean that to be a slight on them. They just aren't somebody that really wanted to put in the work on themselves, right? So like we have a motto that we've adopted from people over time, but it's work harder on yourself than you do on your job, right? Like that is what a deliberately developmental individual does. It always begins and ends with you. Like if you don't want this, like no one else is going to want it for you. Even God like doesn't give a shit, if you don't want it. You know what I mean? If you don't want to try to be a person that is deliberately trying to develop and to grow for yourself, then no one else is going to want that more for you. Like no one is going to do this for you. It doesn't matter if you join an organization or you're around a group of other people. If you don't want it, it's not going to happen. It's not going to change anything, right? So to become a deliberately developmental individual, though, if you do want to become that, you got to be willing to commit to a lifetime of daily focus around living your personal values and being comfortable with being uncomfortable and enduring through it all, right? Controlled instability, creating controlled instability within your life, and all the other facets that go into being a deliberately developmental individual. But I think the key word to focus on here is deliberately. You have to deliberately make it happen. It is not going to just naturally happen. You have to put a focus on this stuff if you want it to have an impact in your life at all. Now, there's things that can help along the way. Your values are the biggest thing. That is your compass, right? That can help guide you of how to become a deliberately developmental individual. And once you started that, you start to realize you follow your values and they illuminate the path forward, and you start to realize how fun and rewarding this is as you embark on this journey of trying to become a deliberately developmental individual. Now, the fun thing is once you start on this journey, that what we've discovered is all of a sudden you magically start to link up with other deliberately developmental individuals, because that's what happens. You end up getting attracted to other people that are attracted to the same stuff that you want. From there, then you start to link up and now you're in a deliberately developmental organization, right? Like that's really how this all works, but it always starts and ends with you. So NextJump, one of the companies they talk about in this book, has a motto that says, a better me plus a better you equals a better us, right? And I really, truly believe that that's like, if you and I came to this every single night, like, and you weren't trying to be a deliberately developmental individual, and I wasn't trying to be a deliberately developmental individual, or vice versa, one of us was and one of us wasn't, like Blake, right? Like, is Blake trying to be a deliberately developmental individual? I would say probably not. I think he wants to, in theory, a lot of times, but he doesn't join us in these conversations anymore. And I'm not saying that's a slight on him. He's got there's nothing wrong with whatever Blake is doing or whatever Blake wants to do. He doesn't want to be a part of this deliberately developmental organization, I guess. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. He's still a great person. I still love him to death, still talk to him regularly. It's just what it is, right? When you are willing to put in the work on yourself, and I am willing to put in the work on ourselves, we become better together. And then that's when the real magic starts happening. Meaningful work and meaningful relationships connect together. And then all of a sudden you have an explosive lightning in a bottle culture growing and all that other good stuff, right? So yeah, that's the final reflection for this. A better me plus a better you equals a better us. Love to get your thoughts.
Right. I think the first thing I have to say is that, a better me plus a better you gotta be equal. Because I don't know, it's just being technical. But I think you're right in terms of the DDI. I think DDI is the key to have this culture. Without the individual, the organization isn't much,
Worthless, yeah.
But I think these are the core elements of a great culture. It is the individual aligned with their core values. And when I say aligned, you have to be authentically aligned, and you have to be authentic like yourself. And I think this is the problem I see. And like you say, regarding Blake and many other people that have come through company, there is nothing that I think is to ding on them and on these things. It's just that they haven't got to the point where they can understand what we're saying. Because this is the struggle I have been, I guess, marinating in my head for many, many years, which is if I had a time machine and I can go back to when I was 20 years old and tell my younger self to be a deliberate DDI, I could not find a way to tell him. Because for that younger true, he says, yes, my core values is to eat the fucking frog. So that's what I'm doing, because that is what he truly believes. And I think Blake is in the same boat as my younger self, because the thing is, if you're working on something that isn't really yourself, you thought it was yourself, you were told this is who you are, and you embrace it, but embracing the wrong identity.
Right.
So imagine that, hey, a lion, when it was born, he haven't seen his mom, he got lost, but the ducks, comes in and become his mother and show him around and give him food, whatever. He thinks he's a duck, but he cannot be a duck because his identity from the natural, patterns of his DNA isn't make him a duck. He cannot become a duck, even though he wants to be a duck. But because the environment forces him to think like he's a duck, so therefore he has this identity crisis. And many of us today have the same problem, is we have this identity crisis. Because I can also guarantee you, before you had the atomic bomb with Amelia, you are going to be so headstrong because of your characteristic and your core values of challenge. You will not even let me speak to you about there is more to life than just go and hustle and bustle and grind and whatever you want. And so you won't even give me a time of day.
No.
Right?
No, I mean, no, not at all. My mind would have been pretty set.
Right. And so the thing is, why is that? Because you truly believe what you were told. You truly believe that I need to work hard at something. I need to go really.
Well, I need to go get an investor. I need to go get VC capital.
Where did that come from? It comes from your surrounding, right? It's surrounding. It comes from
the game of VC investors. They made a game, and they said, this is the rules of this game. And I said, okay, fine. I want that, and I want to play in that game. I didn't even realize the games that I was playing, that's
I was saying before is, when you say, hey, your core value is learning, but when you learn something, doesn't mean you want to learn everything. You don't want to learn things that is boring to you. Let's say you want to play a game, for example. I can make up a game that is only nerds. Like, hey, let's play the flatland thing that we talked about yesterday. Hey, let's play the flatland game, right? For you, it's like, hey, it's a game, and these are the rules. But for you, it is torture. But the thing is, that doesn't mean that it aligns with who you're supposed to be. But because you held on to I am, this competitive person, you bang your head against the brick wall and you keep doing it. And you wonder why it is so hard. Because for me, once you have become authentic with yourself and understand your true core values, the DDI, it is so easy. It's just like, hey, you're a cake eating guy, right? And you say, well, I need to work hard on eating cake. It would work at all. I don't need to have any kind of willpower to eat. When I'm lacking willpower, that thing just drawn me to, hey, I'm gonna.
I have to have willpower to stop myself. Right now, we were just talking about this before we started this. I am exhausted right now because I took on a monthly challenge last month of 30 minutes of tennis, which was actually somewhat balanced, and it's paid off big time. And I just had a huge win against somebody last night that I'd never beaten before, and I feel my body's feeling healthy and good. Well, this month I decided to go and do it in pickleball. Well, now I am in trouble because I've been playing pickleball. It wasn't deliberate practice every single day because I didn't know how to do that. So I knew there was people that were playing every day. So I would just go play with them every single day. And then I get sucked into the vortex of the stuff that I love right now. And I get sucked in for hours a day to the point in time where it's unbalanced now. I can't stop. I'm having to exert willpower to go. This felt like I was a drug addict tonight. Like my wife goes, I'm going to take my son to this volleyball game. And I was dead set this morning when I woke up. I was like, I'm not playing pickleball. I was like, I know they're playing tonight down the street. I was like, I'm not going to go. I like swear to God, I looked at myself like in the mirror this morning. I was like, you need to stay home. Your body's sore. You need to rest. And then from the middle of the afternoon, I committed to this. I was like, I'm not playing pickleball. So I was like, I'm going to go to the courts. I'm going to go down there before my wife gets home, before my son gets home, and I'm going to go do my deliberate practice with tennis stuff. Well, she walked in and she was like, I'm going to take my son to a volleyball game for her school. And I was like, I felt like I was a drug addict because I was like, oh my God, I can go do drugs right now. I was like, oh, no. I stood there at the fridge. I had opened the fridge and she walked out of the house and looked around and I was like, should I do this? No, you shouldn't do this. And I was like, but should I? This is like a legitimate, like, and then I was like, fuck it. Let's just do, I can come back. I won't stay the whole time. I'll come back. I'll put Luke to bed when they get back. I'll be home. I have to exert willpower to stop myself right now. I had to pull myself out of the game.
You go?
Yeah, I did. And so much so as I left, normally I'd be there for like 3 hours and shutting this thing down and texting you going, hey, can we start a little bit later or something like that? This is what the past couple months have been like. Well, I exerted my willpower and I left after like a little over an hour playing. I played like 6 games. I won 5 of them. I lost my last one. And I was like, as I was getting a drink of water, I was like, I should probably go. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go. And I went over to everyone I was playing with. I was like, see you guys, I got to get out of here, And as I was walking out, multiple people were like, you're going the wrong way, Chris. And I go, no, I'm going the right way. I was like, I got to go home. I was like, I have to get the fuck out of here because we'll draw you in, like, and the game is calling and you're like, God, man, I have a problem, That's when you have a good problem, but like when I need to exert willpower to stop myself,
Yeah. So from my perspective, your willpower is 0 and your core value is 1. You think that, hey, my willpower only made me go halfway. It's like, no shit.
Yeah. I mean,
but you're on point though. I mean, the thing is when something is aligned with who you are, there's no need to put an effort into doing this developmental individual thing.
Right.
You say, hey, you have to put work into it. It's like, what
I'm
work?
not working. This isn't work. Like, right. Yeah. I mean,
right. And so the thing is, this is the right alignment, because if you have to work on becoming this DDI person,
you're
pick the wrong core values.
Yes.
Maybe you like cake, but it wasn't like, maybe you like cake, but not any cake. Maybe you like chocolate cake instead of cheesecake or whatever. Maybe cheesecake,
or upside down cake or something.
Whatever, right? Like, so the thing is, it's more destinations to the core values that you think you want. But most people don't even get to the point where they say, I like cake. Right. They say, well, I like frogs because, this guy said he likes the frogs.
He eats frogs. My boss tells me, my non-DDO tells me to eat frogs, and we all eat frogs, and we love frogs. Like, this is what we eat. We eat frogs all day long. It's like, this is our job, Like,
yeah, but the thing is that the society, people don't tell you the whole story. They only tell you the successes.
Right.
Out of one success, there are hundreds of thousands of failures in that success. For you to stand on 100,000 failures, to have to hold up one success, and the success is what is the story that gets told. And so we look at it, hey, ate the frog, and he have this success, whatever, right? And to me, that's a disconnect. The disconnect is becoming a DDI is like running downhill. Here you are chasing the wrong target.
Yep. And
so having the initial understanding of yourself is important. And I think this is still a problem we as company need to solve, because we know that, hey, Blake is a good guy. He's really a good guy. Awesome. I just think he just cannot figure out what it is that he wants. Because right now he's conflicting with what people tell him that he should want. And right, because he said, well, I believe I want this. People told him to believe it, and he said, that's mine. Right. But to understand that, it's hard to kind of figure out, okay, what is real, what is fake. And I can tell you right now, thinking back to my past, I wouldn't be able to know either. I don't know about you. I don't know about you. But if you think about it, before you had this experience to understand what we're going through, if you had told your younger self to go through what Blake has gone through, would you even have a slightly better advantage than Blake? To me, I'm probably worse than him. I mean, I think, And to give him credit, he actually tried. It's just that I think the authenticity is eluding him right now because it's very confusing.
I have the best example of this today. I inherited one more of the previous team that I inherited. There was one more person that officially moved over to my team. I've been onboarding him for the past 2 weeks. I've been going through all of our values, going through the why of what we do, all the stuff, getting him set up with his core values quest, and we're going through his values and the initial pass through, and I'm doing all the stuff that we've done for the whole entire time, right? And today he asked me, he goes, I'm really struggling with this first things first stuff. He was like, Chris, he's from like Southeast Asia. The Canadian team that I inherited, they're all very international. One of them was from Bangladesh, one was from like Romania, one was from
It's going to be much harder
So
the Asian, the Easterners to understand this because they don't have the sense of identity.
That's what happened today. He was like, I haven't asked. He was like, I really want to do this stuff, and I really appreciate you're doing this stuff for us, and I understand what you're doing, and I agree with it. He was like, I have a whole lot of stuff going on in my personal life with like, we're moving, we're trying to do whatever. I'm worried about money stuff right now, and I need to like get really good at my job and blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, I just don't know that I can focus on this stuff right now. And I was like, wait. I was like, his exact words to me were, he was like, I don't know if you're aware of this, but like, the culture that I come from and this other guy on my team is from Bangladesh and this other guy from, another country. He's like, I don't know if you're aware of this, but like our primary function first is to do all the stuff that we're told to do is the right thing to do, make money, like, take care of this, take care of that, do whatever, like, be good at your job, like stuff like this, right? He was like, this is ingrained in us. And I'm like, I get it. Like, I totally understand that. I'm not saying I want you to not do these things. What I want you to do is to do them for the right reasons, and to find the right kinds of jobs where they can feel like they're easier for you. We went through this whole entire thought experiment with him of like, your life is dominated by urgent and important things. That's the culture that you grew up in, right? Like, I mean, that is what he's being told he needs to prioritize all day long. I'm telling you, for the first time in your life, prioritize the not urgent but important things because you know that these are important. And I have a feeling that if you do that, the urgent and important stuff you'll get way better at. You'll the outcomes of what you seek will be better.
Right, they won't become urgent.
Exactly. Like the mindset, the paradigm shift of focusing on stuff that is the priority versus other people's priorities is so hard for people to break through, right? Like, that gap of going, well, but I have to do this stuff. No, you don't. I'm actually your boss, and I'm actually telling you, you don't have to do this. I'm actually telling you to do that. And I finally registered with him. I was like, that is what you need to do. And he was like, okay, I agree. I think I'm with you. I think I understand the logic of how I get to, to take care of my family and the job and the finances I want to get to by making sure that I do this stuff first, by being a deliberately developmental individual, right? Like, you can go grind all day long, but like he tells me, I've only known this guy for 2 weeks.
What's the seven habits? Exactly. Like, he's not sharpening. So he go down, I gotta chop wood, right? Yeah. Well, how the fuck do you chop wood if you don't sharpen your axe or sharpen the saw? I mean,
right, yeah. I mean, no, you're 1,000% right. I asked him, like, what do you love to do outside of work? And he was like, well, I like this, I like this, I like this. And I was like, when was the last time you did these things? Well, it's been a long time, actually, because I just haven't had time. I've been really focused on the work stuff. And I'm like, you're telling me you love these things and they're effortless for you, but you don't do them anymore because you can't, because these other things these urgent and important things have gotten in the way, right? Like, and I'm trying to tell, like, I think it's like you and I can see this now, right? And I couldn't have seen this before either, to be honest. To be fair, like
I can tell you, I would not have been able to be. I mean, I would do much worse than Blake because I wouldn't even give you the time of day.
Yeah.
I mean, Blake,
like, you're nuts, man. I got stuff to do.
Okay, let me indulge this guy, and then I'll go through and see what happens. It's just that he just doesn't. But for me, you probably can get me into the room for 15 minutes for you to talk to me. Right. When I was younger, I was that stubborn and hard-headed. I mean, in the most stupid way, but
you cannot get to a better me if you don't focus on you ever. Like, you know what I mean? Like you can't get there. Like, if you're always focusing on a better them, like and a better whatever they is that you're around, like, and you never ever, like, even in any team environment, like if you're on a basketball team and it's just like, I'm going to focus on,
if you trying to better someone else but not better yourself, it's like you're not there. So what's the point?
It's irrelevant. Like, I mean, it's
you're not there. You're not even able to handle yourself in that situation where you haven't had anything to stand on.
Right.
And that's the thing that people keep dismissing, is because society and our surrounding has been conditioning us for these sort of like more of a standardized, quote unquote, mode of a dream of some sort. Hey, I gotta be this person. You can't all be princesses. Right? You can't. Somebody has to be, the maid.
Right. Yeah.
You can't be all leaders, because who's gonna fucking follow you if everybody's leaders? That's the thing, and people being told a logically ridiculous concept, like everybody can be leaders. Everybody gotta be, the boss. Like, fucking who? You're the boss. If you're the leader, who you leader of? If you're princess, right? Who's the son?
Well, I actually think that everybody can be a leader, but a leader of themselves, first and foremost.
In the traditional sense, I'm not talking about your
sense. Yeah, you're talking about literally having followers. Yeah.
Your concept of leadership doesn't make sense to the people who hasn't been in the company rung of the ladder, right? So the concept of leadership in the real world today, in the world that corporate world, right? It's a sense of, hey, I'm on top, and I'm telling you what I want, and you guys need to do it because I am the leader, and I pick where I go, and you gotta follow. And that is a traditional sense of a leader position. And so that's what I'm talking about, and that's what people understand. And so when you're talking about that in that sense, right? If everyone is a leader, so that's what Genghis Khan would say, hey, I'd rather have a lion leading an army of deer than a deer leading an army of lions. Because all the lions say, well, if I'm a lion, why would I listen to the deer? So right, it's not cohesive, and they do whatever they want because everybody's a leader, everybody's a lion, and it's chaos because they say, hey, oh, you do that, or you do this, and you have an army of lions that does shit, that doesn't do anything, and the deer can't do shit either, right? They can't even like knock the lion on the head and say, boom, you gotta go. No, because imagine what a deer would get if he knocks the lion on the head with me, and he could get eaten. And so, like I said, if everyone's a leader, right, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And so they condition
for themselves. Those deer need to know why they're in that deer group, and know why they're following that lion, and know how this aligns to who they want to be.
But I'm talking about the absurdity of the logic.
No, I get what you're saying. You're talking about the traditional societal structures.
Yes, but you're confusing people by adding.
Confusing people because that is a form of leadership. Like being a DDI is definitely a form, because you are diagnosing yourself. You are understanding what you care about and don't care about. And then
I don't really care to be. I don't care to be anything other than what I'm supposed to be. Once I understand what I need to be a DDI. Because the DDI said, hey, I'm a cake-eating monster. Then I'm a cake-eating monster. I don't want to be a leader or whatever that people say, hey, it's good and majestic and pride or whatever. I don't really fucking care. If I'm the one of those sloths, right? I like to sleep all day, then I'm a fucking sloth. I'm going to be a lord, and I'm a powerful, I'm a strong, blah, blah, blah. I don't want that, because if I'm a sloth, I'm a sloth, right?
Well, I'm being sloths, by the way. Sloths are pretty damn cool.
Regardless, if I'm a dung beetle, I don't fucking care. Okay, I don't care
also
what
really
kind.
Cool.
That's my point.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. You're like, I don't know what's cool if I'm just, I'm just being me. Like I have no idea.
Because the thing is, to give up the ability to be yourself to attain the title of being cool, it's not worth it for me. Think about it. Because you say, hey, True, hi, you look like you can be in a manager position. Go manage people. I don't know, can I manage people? Yeah, I can. But I hate it. I hate dealing with these issues. Like, hey, you do it or you don't. Because for me, is I don't like go in and sweet thing up or soothe thing out or mitigate this, mitigate that. Hey, this is what I want. You do it if you want to. If you don't, then I'll find someone else. So you say, well, and you come and you negotiate with me, right? You say, hey, what if you give me this and I will do that? I say, well, I don't care. This is what I offer. What I offer is what I offer.
Right.
So for me, as a manager, that makes me feel good because I don't have to think through the stuff. But if I have a manager, I put them under my hat and go, well, oh, fine, I have to figure out how to go. And that is just a chore for me. I don't want to do that. So I don't want to have to give up the ability, my freedom, my sense of ease for the title of a head manager or leader, whatever. I don't want, regardless of how much you put that title on a pedestal. I don't want it.
You're missing a key point to all of that, though. I don't feel that way when I lead people. I actually feel very simple and easy because it's easy for me. Like it's not hard.
And
right.
that's
I know.
my point.
My
point is
I
you
enjoy
have the
helping them
gene
yeah.
to be in that core value, to embrace
Right.
that core value, embrace that ability to do things, right? I have the opposite core value, which is
Right.
I am this guy that is like, leave in the corner. I don't need you to do anything for me. I don't need you to, you know.
I love to help people. I love to share knowledge and I love to help them.
I like to help humanity, if that makes sense.
You like to help. Actually, that's a really good point. So the love and workbook, right? When he said, I don't like to talk to one person, I like to talk to 500 people. And he was like, that doesn't make sense because I've struggled having one-on-one conversations, but I can talk to a group of 500 people and it feels like it's like talking to one person, for most people.
So whatever the nuance of who you are as a person, you have to embrace that. That gives you the ease, right? Okay, for you, when you help people, when you are managing people and you lead people, it's easy. You have this feeling of ease for you. Okay, that's what you want. That feels free and liberating. Okay, that's freedom. That's peace of mind. For me, it's whatever that makes me give me that sense of peace, sense of ease, sense of liberation. That is the thing that you're giving away to claim something that you're not fitted for.
Yep.
Right.
I agree.
So that's the thing is, if you're a leader, right, and you love it, it's great. Because I know there are people who don't. Because we're talking about the guy. You remember the guy who was responsible for like 10,000 words in a dictionary, whatever.
Yeah, the professor and the madman.
The professor madman. Because that's his identity. That's what makes him feel at ease. But that's what he does. But that's what draws him. That's eating cake for him. Right. So everybody has their own piece of combinations of DNA that makes them uniquely fitted for certain tasks, certain things, certain core values, certain elements. And that's, at the end of the day, is what you need to find for yourself. Yep. And before you can become a DDI, because DDI should not be hard work. It's not work at all. It is, you need willpower to stop you from getting drawn into the vortex of that, like yourself, your pickleball.
and tennis. I mean, like it's the God, I'm still like like I know that this is fucking like I know that this is bad this month. Like I've never had a monthly challenge that has ever backfired on me. Like
the thing is, you say, "Oh man, this is bad," but you have this smile on your face.
No, I know it's
oh, Chris. I ate too much cake today.
Dude, like, have you never said that before? Where you're at, somebody gives you like an awesome cake and you just keep eating the fucking like a literal cake and you wake up the next morning, you're like, oh my God, I way overdid that. And then you wake up and there's your mom sends you home with like you're like 3 other ones and you're like, I shouldn't do it. And then like, later on that night you find yourself like sneaking over to the fridge and you're like, like it's like that right now.
Yeah, it is. That's why I brought it up, because that's what tennis and pickleball means to you.
Dude, it is so fucking bad. Like, and I it's just so funny we're talking about this because it's like I know exactly what's happening. This is a good part about being a DDI, right? Like, because I understand one of my core values is balance, to balance out this, right? Like, and to not let myself be derailed, like like poker did for me or something.
Right, your balance core value is suffering, and so that thing is kind of like completely out of whack, and you have to bring that back to where, hey, I gotta have some of these and some of these and some of these.
But this is why you need a compass to guide your actions, because like I knew that if I look at my compass right now and I'm like, you shouldn't do that, Chris. Like, and you know why you shouldn't do that. It's because of this, this, and this, right? And I know, right? And I do know, and that's why we're talking about this right now. But like, to your point, like I smile because I'm like, I also know that like
it's like you're enjoying it. I'm neglecting my balance core values and the other core values.
I'm not seeing my son as much as I want to, and I'm pissing off my wife, and I'm and I like, I mean, all these, but like, to be fair, like I was just playing for the hour and 10 minutes or whatever I was just playing. I was playing fucking great. Like, and I was like I mean, just I had this old guy who was my partner. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm getting really good at eating this cake. I'm getting really, really good. Like, I've found ways to like eat the entire cake, and I'm getting faster at it, and I can process it faster somehow and then get back to eating more cake, like it's, anyway, it is scaring me a little bit, to be honest with you, because I've never had a monthly challenge that has ever I shouldn't. This is a lesson. Don't make your monthly challenges aligned to stuff that you already know that you're addicted to, that are a good addiction, right? Like, don't make your monthly challenges ever. It should be stuff that you don't know.
I won't say. I think there's a certain.
It should be completely something that has nothing that you have. It's an unknown to you, is what it should be.
Right, because I agree, because you say, hey, I love cake. Let's
try to eat cake every day.
Let's eat cake for the next 30 days every day.
Right.
And we'll have the Lent season for 40 days.
Right.
Let's give up work for 40 days.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
I think that's cheating in a way.
I think that I cheated on my monthly challenge. I'm not saying that it wasn't challenging what I did, but it wasn't challenging. It was challenging to logistically figure it out.
Right.
But it wasn't challenging to do it.
It should be challenging because, like I said, your DDI, if there's a struggle in your DDI and you have to really work on it, then it's just that you picked the wrong core values to focus on. Yes, and I think that, to me, it should be the area of focus we would need to put it in the most. Because if you solve the authenticity of your identity, then that will solve itself, and DDI is running downhill. It's just rolling downhill. There's no effort to it. I mean, the thing is, it would take you effort to stop from rolling downhill.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm having to deploy willpower. But you know what the beauty of all this is? Like, what we're doing right now is a DDI activity, right? Because like this is being deliberate about we're recognizing what's going on in your life, being aware by writing, by reflecting, by having these conversations, by being and then looking at your values to decide the next course of action, right? Like, I am saying right now, I will never make a monthly challenge ever again, that I already know is something that I like to eat, I will never do it again. Because it's only,
but it's cheating because you already know this. You already know that you love cake, and they say, hey, let's challenge yourself to eat cake every day for 30 days. I mean, what's challenging there?
Well, I mean, this is upon reflection, right? Like, I didn't think that was going to happen. Like, I did not think about this
because it wasn't obvious.
Now it's
obvious. Go through the experience, and then we go, okay, fine, okay, and now that, and then we make an analogy to the cake to make it more simpler for us to understand on our first goal. What does that mean? Because the thing is, what we say as far as the language is concerned, it is limited in terms of what we can use to describe the actual whatever is in this real universe, right? In the real life, in the real wicked environment that we live in. Well,
I'm going to actually throw another caveat into this. It's not technically a monthly challenge, but you should definitely do deliberate practice. Like, if my goal was to gain weight and eating cake every day, I knew would gain weight and I like cake, then I'm going to be very successful if I eat cake every single day to gain weight, right? Well, the deliberate practice of doing both of these, pickleball and the tennis, month to month, I've gotten way better at both of these things. And I like that. But here's what I was going to say is the caveat to this. Is you can still make a challenge for yourself to do deliberate practice if this is something that you care about and you want to try to balance around in your life. That's fine. Challenge yourself to do that stuff, but don't make it your monthly challenge. Your monthly challenge should be something new and novel. You have no idea what you're getting yourself into, and you're having to just figure it out as you go, right? And you're discovering whether or not this does align or doesn't align. I guess what I'm trying to say is there's nothing wrong with doing deliberate practice of stuff that you love, because it does have good.
You have to be deliberate. You have to be deliberate, because you imagine me, right, eating the cake. I can't eat the cake all the time. So I have to say, well, I need to eat cake maybe once or twice a week, or 3 times a week, versus anytime, every time. So I need to eat only 3 times a week. That's controlled. That's deliberate. I need to eat the other stuff, quote unquote, whatever the other stuff is, the balance equation, right? So this is deliberate. Yeah. Meaning that I'm not letting myself doing whatever, eating whatever cake, whatever I want. Because yes, it aligns with me, but because if I don't deliberately schedule and control the portions of how much I eat, then the other thing can't happen. I will not be able to eat the cookies. I won't be able to eat the carrots, right? Or whatever that I like, right? You will
overindulge in your.
I indulge in one, and I would the other thing would suffer, because there's no room for cookies.
Right.
Yes, right. There's no room for the Oreos. There's no room for the oat milk cookies or whatever. So everything we do has to be deliberate, so that it is in a balanced state, in a balanced environment where you have a balance. you have some cookies, you have some cake, you have some carrot, sushi, whatever that it represents your core value. It has to be in it. Otherwise, like I say, if you only take, like I say, I eat only the cookies, right? There's no room for cake. There's no room for sushi. There's no room for anything else. So everything we do has to be deliberate. That's why it's called DDI, right? The deliberately the developmental individual. It is deliberate, everything deliberate. And the only challenge is for us as a tool to try something unknown to see if we align with it or not. So if you already know that, hey, you love cookie, and you say, hey, I'm going to do 30 days of eating cake and see if I can eat it, right? You already know that you can, right?
That's what I said. I made a mistake. I made a mistake, but that's okay.
It's unknown to us.
Right. I need to go apologize to my wife is what I need to go do, and make sure that she doesn't hate me, because this is the bad compound effect of overindulging, of not being balanced. Then it starts to affect other people.
Right, because if I ask you today, how's your core values of
how's my balance?
Tennis. No, just do tennis first. It's a 10. How's your balance? Oh, it's a 5.
It's like a 4 right now. I would say it's a 4. I mean,
and so you would rather have father, a 7 or 8 on all of the core values versus just, hey, I got a 10 on here, I got a 2 on here, right?
Other activities that I care about in my life, of being a good husband, a good father, a good even co-founder for you. Like, I mean, I've been showing up dragging ass every day.
Every day is at 9:30. Okay, sure.
Yeah, it just keeps getting later and later, and I show up and I'm like, I look like I'm a fucking mess. I was just pouring sweat, and I'm like, I'm so tired, True. I mean, you're probably seeing this on the other end going, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to yourself still? As a matter of fact, we just had this conversation before this conversation. You're like, you're going to keep doing this next week? And I go, I got to finish the month. Like, 7 more days left this month. I don't know what I'm fucking, it's like a heroin addict going like, well, you need to stop doing heroin. Yeah, I know, but Labor Day is coming up. I got a big heroin party coming up.
I have spent the money on it already.
Right. Yeah, it's already there. I mean, shit.
And then once go, well, I still have some money in the pocket, right? I might as well use that.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go to bed early tonight. Can I go to bed early? Or you feel
5 minutes early?
Yeah.
Sure.
Awesome. All right. Well, the question we can leave for everybody is: are you committed to being DDI?
Right.
Because that's the case. And that's step 1, and then you can find a DDO after that. But
that's the first step, and it's the most important step. If you can be a DDI, figure out how to be DDI. Like I say, authentically, DDI should not feel like work. If it does, then one of the ingredients is not correct.
Yes, you're cooking a bad cake.
Yep. Put in dirt instead of flour.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for joining. And that concludes our Everyone Culture Reflections. Looking forward to a new book tomorrow. It is a good book. I really enjoyed this one. Awesome. All right. We'll see you everybody tomorrow night.
See ya.